Squirm Squad, deploy for Part 4 of Gears of War Ultimate Edition.
I am so ready, dude.
Guys, a bit of a problem here.
What?
What?
What is it?
Someone super glued my glove to the weapon, and now I can't get it off.
You're goddamn right.
That makes me more efficient in killing enemies, dude.
You see,
But
this is
but I have to use my hands for other things, you know.
Like bashing the enemy's skull,
Or a date with rosy palms.
or strangling the enemy's
Oh,
throat.
I don't know, guys. Something to do with eating.
You're
Is
the
that really the
worst,
first thing on your mind, cadet?
You're the worst
I have-
dude bro I've ever worked with.
I'm starving. I haven't eaten for 2 weeks.
Whose fault is that, then?
Yours. You keep nicking my food.
Pardon me, but the training should be that you should be quick enough to get it by now.
I keep falling over because of malnutrition.
Oh, that's right. You have
Or
to
excuse
you
the
have
way
to
your
attract
body
the
works.
Berserker outside and use the satellite on it.
Yes, the hammer. of
Also,
dawn.
you're juggling with the weapons, apparently.
Yeah.
I was just trying out because it's interesting because see the problem with the dark coloring that sometimes it's hard to see the weapons on the ground. You know.
Mm-hmm.
In cases like these, I would definitely recommend maybe upping the light setting in the game if need be.
Well, I'm trying to show the game visually as it was intended by the developers.
Yeah.
So-
Fair enough.
Usually they have the classic setting Java where figure in black and white, the figure should not be visible on on the background, stuff
All right,
like
and
that.
now boss battle.
Oh shit! That model just popped a bit.
All right, so this also kind of brings up a specific issue that I have with this game, because and it's going to become more apparent in later parts, but this is one of the first ones. One of my issues with this game, the first one specifically gameplay-wise, is how the gameplay. This game relies on a problem I have with just lack of conveyance in a lot of times. In the sense that it feels like I'm supposed to know beforehand how the developers expect me to deal with a certain obstacle, you know, and I have to basically trial and error my way through and finally figure out the specific way that the developers intended for me to get through a specific section. Like, for example, with this boss, like, for example, I'm supposed to, like Teo said, I'm supposed to use the Hammer of Dawn on him. However, the game never explains specifically how for example, did you guys know that the Berserkers are blind and therefore...
Yeah, they tell that in the cutscene beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, even if you do that, sometimes they'll just seems like you even tell you can still kind of tell where you are. It's kind of weird, the AI.
So it's more faulty programming.
Yeah, it sounds like more an issue with the programming. Like, I've never had that happen to
Also,
me.
actually I noticed something else. What's the timer for? Maybe we explained that I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, for getting the Berserker out. That's the thing. Every time one of those timers appears, they never explain what the timer is actually for. It's basically I have that time to get the Berserker.
I mean, they may have mentioned something about the extraction point, but I don't think it was related to this.
No, they didn't specifically mention that. See, the thing is, sometimes it's gonna happen later. Do up your mic, please. Anyway.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, sometimes there will be a timer that shows up until I specifically do something. And sometimes there are even tight timers like it. So basically right now I'm trying to see if I can finish him off from a distance, you know.
I don't you mean finish her off according to the pronouns?
Now I'm just trying to see. Basically I'm trying my best to stay away from him as much as I can.
Guys, not for nothing, but I think a timer is for the Berserker.
It is for the... If I don't...
No, it's for my lunch. Don't take minutes and 50 seconds. The launch will blow up the whole continent.
What did you put
Why
there on
would
hamster?
you get an explosive lunch?
Because electricity and gas aren't common nowadays because of all the chaos and destruction.
Eat their ass. Oh Jesus Christ!
I guess you did not like that.
They specifically told me that use the Hammer of Dawn on the Berserker, but I didn't. Told me, but I missed it. Where I'm supposed to shoot him right after he gets it.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't get his your companion saying, "Oh look, go for it." But it's almost blink and you miss.
What happened? It's not so much that. It's more of the fact that silly me, you know, because before when I was shooting with my gun, he heard the gunshots and came towards me, so I was kind of, you know, afraid of using my gun, you know. So it's kind of this thing where I kind of. But here's the thing. I'm about to round. See, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
You can actually beat him really quickly if you know that you're supposed to shoot right after, you know. That's the thing. I didn't quite realize. Maybe I missed a line, but. You know,
yeah, that is the thing about Gears of War 1. A lot of stuff is very blink or miss a beat, and you may miss some certain intel here and there.
Anyway, I was going to say, what happened was, because gas and electricity are so scarce now in the destructed world, I had to combine an oven with nuclear power to heat up my lasagna.
Of course.
That doesn't make the food itself explosive, though.
Anyway,
well, that's a fake over. The radioactive stuff has mutated over the years, so if I'm not careful, it could blow up the continent.
Promotion.
You're eating radioactive stuff. That is totally careful.
So yeah, Marcus Phoenix is now the leader of the Delta Squad, and he will be if we got the rest of the
Congratulations, Phoenix! You've just been promoted.
Battlefield promotion.
I wonder what a locust tastes like.
I know, guys. I caught one earlier. Do you want to find out?
No.
What is it, smart guy?
Well, you guys.
Maybe it carries diseases or something.
There is a way out of here. It will be dark soon. There is a way out.
Hey, I found the.
Thanks, narrator.
Well, guys.
Welcome to Act 2, Nightfall.
Tick, tick, boom.
Well, guys, since you never found a vacancy for food officer, I figured I'd fill it.
Alright, the bit is over.
You're feeding radioactive food.
So yeah, you have to find out
I'm not feeding you guys radioactive food, I'm feeding it to myself. It's an experiment to see how well...
if you allow me to explain this, basically now that I'm the leader of the squad, I can give squad orders. I can tell them to attack, I can tell them to cease fire, and I can tell them to regroup, as in get together where I am.
And another thing
this is compatible with the Kinect vocal module.
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't think there's Kinect.
I mean, it worked flawlessly with this kind of mechanic for Mass Effect, so I wouldn't be too surprised.
Anyway, so yes,
because I don't have a Kinect because I happen to like my spine.
What do you? Well, to be fair,
Pedro, I would totally want to see you and Vanessa holding hands for Sonic Free Riders.
No, thank you.
Hey, it's the ultimate couple game.
Maybe you need to convince something. You and Shiri didn't fall for it.
I mean, the Kinect won't always hurt your spine. Apparently, it did wonders for people who played that Star Wars Kinect game, specifically on Galactic Dance Off.
So yeah, once again, we have to choose between two specific paths, and the second game position will differ based on my choice. My only issue with
another thing that I do like that Gears of War pioneered was the whole squad command mechanics of third-person shooters.
Yeah. That's cool. But at the same time, when it comes to these sections where I'm supposed to pick between the right path and the left path, the game never tells me what are the advantages and disadvantages of each path. I kind of wish the game.
It's a blind
Isn't that kind of the idea for you to try it out and be surprised?
Well, but that's the thing, Jova. Okay, if I don't have any idea of which path is better for me, then what's the? I mean, might as well choose it random. You know, like it's just one of those things where I kind of wish it would have given me some kind of like, okay, if you go through here, you'll have to solve a puzzle. If you go through here, you'll have to beat more enemies than in the other path. You know, something like that, where I get to choose which specific path sounds the neater to me. You know, like instead, I just pick one at random and then just hope it's good.
I guess to be fair, the idea is like, well, you get more of a surprise out of it, and it's not like just a blatant, oh, do this, and then you'll always do this or that.
Oh, mouse.
Okay.
Okay, that's rude.
Okay. Oh wait, two. It's the precursor to the eventual reveal of Resident Evil 2, the remake, which started with the perspective of a rodent.
I see no actual PlayStations there.
These are the boomers. They have explosive missiles. Exactly. Thanks, game.
You can tell they're bad. They have no regard for rodent life.
They can withstand a lot more bullets than your typical move.
I can see that. Do headshots work in this game?
Yes. However, not for the boomers though.
It's kind of weird considering not everyone, but most locals actually go around with their head exposed.
All right, I guess they're done.
Mind you, even these the Gears units seems to be going for that logic as well. So.
Got it. Whoops, sir.
Let's check out.
Well, Tio, in case you haven't noticed, the one gear guy who did wear a helmet, he ended up getting axed. Here's the rule.
Or Carmine.
Like, that's the thing. If we don't know your face, then you're pretty much, cannon fodder to us.
I'm just here to die, aren't I? Nah.
Nah. I mean, don't worry. I mean, look. Sure, we don't know your name. Okay, we know your name, but we...
What's my name then?
Car crash, was it? And we've never seen your face.
Yeah, I'm just here to die.
Also, between this and Mad World, I kind of need more situations where John DiMaggio has to swear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. You'd think we'd see more of these sort of things where John DiMaggio swears up a storm, yet surprisingly not. He tends to be more kid-friendly stuff. Futurama notwithstanding. Honestly,
I prefer when it's a voice actor who ranges in that kind of sense because it gets situations where it catches off guard. Like the Slaughterhouse 2010 reboot has like a lot of problems, but I cannot definitely fault him for having Jim Cummings as the role of a terror mask, constantly spewing sexual jokes and swearing every 5 seconds.
That's right, folks. The voice of Winnie the Pooh swears up a storm in that game.
Honestly, Jim Cummings is known for so many things that at this point it's hard to pinpoint him to just the voice of what,
Well, but you associate it more with mostly with Disney, but in general, kid-friendly stuff.
Yeah, I know, especially since he's the main guy who voices Pete and Winnie the Pooh. Yet to hear him swear up a storm, it's amazing considering what he's normally associated with.
That can also work in reverse, mind you. Like when you have a situation like
how Frank Welker starred in Once Upon a Girl.
I suppose, but more in a sense, I can't think right now immediately on an example. But basically, there you go. Someone like Danny Trejo, who's normally associated with being in movies that are, with violent roles, where he has to insult people and kill everyone else, voicing I think the monkey or someone else in the Dora the Explorer movie.
Oh yeah, for a moment I thought you were going to bring up his role in Spy Kids, but yeah, Boots, that works too.
Spy Kids is weird in that kind of sense, because, again, Rodriguez, I'm sorry for Rodriguez, but I do genuinely believe that he's not suited for doing that kind of movie. He should just stick to the R-rated stuff, which he excels in that.
Sorry, what are you guys all about?
No, it was just basically we started reflecting on the fact that John DiMaggio being the protagonist of this game is in a more edgy kind of role, which is a bit out of his usual repertoire, and I was going from there.
Basically, we were discussing Danny Trejo and stuff like Dora the Explorer and Spy Kids.
Can you remind me who voices? Yeah, he's voicing like the monkey or someone else in the...
Yes, he voices Boots in Dora the Explorer.
That one.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Swiper the Fox is voiced by Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro, yeah.
Which is it just
honestly, the family reunion in that kind of sense will be complete with Antonio Banderas in the movie.
I know, right?
Which is
Wait, have they all been in a movie together?
Which is interesting because they have the back map and the map in that film, and back in the show the map and Swiper were voiced by the same person, and they brought the guy back for map but not Swiper, which is odd.
Anyway, too, you mentioned Danny Trejo, Antonio Banderas, and Benicio del Toro. Have those three been in a movie together before?
Not very, no, but they're mostly famous for playing similar roles.
True.
In the meantime, one thing that I will also mention, because I'm playing on casual difficulty, the casual difficulty can still be relatively hard if you're not prepared for it. Because remember, remember you're watching a playthrough, like you think. Well, it is. I mean, I understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's kind of refreshing, I guess. But at the same time, I fail to realize the point of a difficulty, having multiple difficulty levels, if there's no one that Like you call it casual, and it's not really casual. Then it's kind of misleading.
My guess is that by casual they mean like, well, it's more like, you know, this sort of thing where you start off with a gradual uptake in difficulty every now and then until the point where you've more mastered it.
If it managed to be successful, I guess it managed to filter out the audience that it got with these difficulties.
Also, we should take into account what casual meant back then and what it means now.
It's kind of like similar to, since I replayed them on the PS4 in these recent weeks. It's kind of similar to Doom. Even in its easiest difficulty, I'm too young to die. Yes, ID Software loves to do that kind of thing. It still can be very punishing. Stuff like the cyber demons can still make quick work out of you. So
anyway,
it
guys,
definitely embraces the logic of the shooters. Yes, Dweebs?
Good news or bad news?
Gone.
Good news is I finally managed to get the gun that you super glued to my hand out of my hand.
You mean the gun that you accidentally super glued to yourself?
You did it, but that's the good news.
Okay. What's the medium news?
Medium, it's really bad. I had to cut off my hand.
You know, you could have just melted the glue off, you do know, by putting it under a heater.
Yeah, but I'd rather have no hand than a burn hand.
Aha! You'd rather have no hand than a burned hand that would eventually heal.
What? From Jova, remember, we have no gas. We would have had to have used radiation.
That's just because you don't know how to think outside the box. Like, just hold it out in the sun and it'll melt eventually.
There are no such things as boxes barely even anymore. That one box you just passed then.
Oh, there you go. You're supposed to go here.
So how can I think outside the box if there's no boxes?
Drax, remember what we said about not taking everything literally when I say thinking outside the box?
Oh, you were supposed to use the box.
Jova, don't use my code name. That will give my identity away.
Sometimes I come to these parts where a kick will not open the door, so we have to have Jack broke down the door.
What? You hang out with
Thanks,
Good excuse for some character interaction.
Exactly. Good job, Dibs.
I'm sure there's some dice stranded. Maybe.
Shut up.
Alright, so basically we have to find a standard settlement. Basically it's the settlement of people who can help us find the place where we have to go into a specific mine where there's a lot of locusts and drop the resonator there, so that resonator will detect their basically their net of tunnels, so that we can locate where all the locusts are. In the meantime, the next chapter, go.
Grist.
Grist. What
I actually don't know what that means.
What's Grist?
Jova?
Hmm.
Oh, I thought it was like an American slang thing.
Dibs, to the Urban Dictionary.
It's like skronk. It didn't be just its own word.
Actually, let me do that. Let me rephrase that. Okay. Okay. Dibs, check the Urban Dictionary. What the hell does this word mean?
I'm just typing it now, but bear in mind I've only got the use of one hand.
That's still your own fault, just saying.
Don't worry.
Necessity makes perfect.
Don't worry. Chief Technician Pedro can make a mechanical hand for me or something.
He can? I thought he was just the cook.
No, he can technician as well.
Actually, no. Remember, Jova is the cool equivalent, and Teo, I guess Teo can be dumb.
Anyway,
so you have to be paired. Sorry, dude.
I have found the definition of grist on Urban Dictionary.
Okay, what is it?
A term that extends far beyond the meaning of creeper. It is used to describe a creep to the ultimate extreme. Not your typical creeper, a true professional creeper that can put all the other creepers to shame. Be very careful around those types. Dude, that kid was a total grist. He was staring at the shower star as I was coming out. Don't be a grist. Being in the same class does not give you permission to troll me there from less than 2 feet behind me. That was grist.
I think the actual definition is a bit more correct. Either corn that is ground to make flour, or useful material especially to support an argument.
That's grit. That's grit. But
No,
anyway, that was Christy, man. Looking through my Facebook pictures with one hand in your pants, and then reducing the screen and acting like nothing happened as soon as I walked by. That's beyond creepy. It's just downright gristy. Don't get too drunk at this party, man. We may have a grist here, so unless you want to wake up an enlarged anus, keep the booze to a minimum.
Regarding grist whips, believe it or not, there is actually an actual noun for the term grist,
Yeah,
which
it's
is probably what
Old
you was
English
referring
for
to.
grinding of Germanic origin.
Well, guys, who gave me the order to look it up on Urban Dictionary?
Pedro did.
Exactly.
Not me.
Blame the orderer.
You mean the Order 1886?
That's
Wow,
that's
that car was a bit low texture.
Well, to be fair, this is an Xbox 360 game.
I know, but it's a bit
Remastered,
weird.
but- But remember that this was back when Epic Games was making the games. They didn't have Microsoft's budget. Because remember, the original Gears of War wasn't even a 360 exclusive. Was actually released on PC as well. Later on, when 2 and 3 were Xbox 360 exclusives, Epic Games were still the ones technically making and funding the games themselves. It was just that they had an exclusive deal with Microsoft. It was only with 4 that these games started being funded by Microsoft. So
Okay.
So Epic Games had to cut corners somewhere. Yeah.
So, Corporal Hexion.
Although to be fair, this
Corporal? I
particular
think I'm higher up on the food chain than Corporal.
Sorry, Corporal. In fact, I was going to inform you. High Command was concerned at our team's collective performance on the battlefield. And instead of the leader, because Pedro has decided to delegate all responsibility for the performance of the team onto you, has decided that you are unfit to be a main due to Corporal.
Since when?
Since yesterday, while you were asleep, and I forged your signature on that order.
You know you just admitted to treason, Dwibs.
It's not treason. It's
so
not
it's treason then.
I was given orders to do that.
Then again, though, this Ultimate Edition was financed by Microsoft, so they could have potentially made a new car texture. But I guess
Well, maybe I guess it was the intention because it's supposed to be rusty and everything. But I don't know. It just looked a bit off to me. But
More
I guess
mysteries to look into in the next part.
I guess in the next part we're getting into a Mako reactor, judging from the end of the video.
Yeah, we'll see you guys after my court martial.
Yeah.
See ya.